Talking to you.
You know so much when you do your hair, I look like Barbie Bubblecut. It's like, God, I can't get this to go down.
Watch out when it does,
So high up.
Maybe that's the one I need. You gotta switch. You might have to. Make sure that's both.
All right, I'm going to go ahead and call the regular city council meeting of March 13th to order. Roll call, please.
Morris,
Here.
Larson,
Here.
Smith,
Here.
Perkins,
Here.
McAdams,
Here.
Verbic,
Here.
Favor,
Here.
Mayor Barnes,
Here.
8 present.
All right, moving on to agenda item B, the Pledge of Allegiance. I think it is now Captain Hy-Vee is going to help us and lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you, Mr. Gentry. All right, moving on to agenda item C, approval of the agenda. Yes.
I'd like to make a change to the agenda. If we could move J6 and to J1.
You betcha.
Second.
I think it's K6 to K1. I don't think.
No,
we have
J6.
Okay.
Right,
Okay.
J6 is, yes, J6 to J1. So perfect, we have a motion to move J6 up in the order.
Second.
In a second, so a motion by Alderwoman Larson, seconded by Alderman McAdams. Roll call, please.
Morris,
Yes.
Larson,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Perkins,
Yes.
McAdams,
Yes.
Verbic,
Yes.
Favor,
Yes.
Mayor Barnes,
Yes.
8 aye.
All right, the agenda has been approved as modified, and you said we were good then, right?
Yes.
All right, moving on to agenda item D, presentations, we have none. Agenda item E, public participation. We have Mark Charvat, if you come up to the podium, and as a reminder, you have 3 minutes, sir.
I believe a censure action is in order for Fifth Ward Alderman Scott McAdams. On the morning of February 10th, 2023, security footage at my residence discovered a political sign placed on my property. The sign was placed by City of DeKalb Fifth Ward Alderman Scott McAdams. The sign was placed on my property without my permission. Security footage shows Mr. McAdams' 2016 Jeep Patriot circling my cul-de-sac and then a sign appearing in my parkway. McAdams took it upon himself to come to my residence, enter my property, and place one of his political signs in my parkway. McAdams later posted a photo boasting about the sign in question on his political Facebook page. It should be noted, I do not reside in the 5th Ward. My residency is in the 4th Ward. Security footage of Mr. McAdams' vehicle creeping around in circles in my cul-de-sac was turned over to DeKalb Police. A police report was filed and states that the suspect vehicle matches. I have never witnessed behavior of this sort ever from an elected official representing our city. McAdams represents the city and this entire board. It's one thing to discuss and debate policy, but when a city official takes it upon himself to invade your personal property, that is uncalled for and reflects on this council as a whole. A police report was filed. Commander Lakis came to my residence, took the report, removed the McAdams sign, placed it in his police vehicle, and then visited Mr. McAdams at his new residence in his shared rooming house on Locust. The police report states that Commander Lakis paid a visit to McAdams, and McAdams referred to the incident as bantering. According to the report, Commander Lakis indicated that he advised McAdams that going to the residence was inappropriate, going to the residence. Lakis also returned the sign to McAdams. The police report also goes on to state that McAdams stated to Officer Lakis that the Supreme Court now allows political signs to be posted on parkways. First off, McAdams, representing the city, stating the law to the officer is inappropriate. He does not speak for the city's legal department. In addition, this is absolutely a falsehood. The police report labeled McAdams' action as an ordinance violation. Political signs cannot be placed on parkways. Sadly, later that afternoon, Officer Lakis then called me to apologize on behalf of the city for Mr. McAdams' actions. I feel sad that our city's police department has to apologize for the childish actions of elected officials that represent this city. McAdams has no business personally contacting me or visiting with me since there are legal proceedings against him still in court. McAdams should know better. Alderman McAdams has spit in the eye of ethics. The Fifth Ward Alderman has become unhinged, and I believe as a result of his inappropriate actions, needs
That's
to be
3 minutes.
censured by the
Appreciate
city
it.
council. 3
So I
minutes.
have Ray Gentlecore, if you can come up to the podium. Do we have a Ray Gentlecore? No? Okay. Derek Van Buren. And again, just as a reminder, you have 3 minutes, sir.
My name is Derek Van Buren. Over the last month, it has become apparent that the City Council needs to pass a code of conduct ordinance for council members and city board members. Recently, I spoke out about bullying and trolling. For example, Alderman McAdams gave false statements to the police regarding the tri-state towing issue, used the City of DeKalb Ultimate ID card, and threatens tri-state towing. The Order of Protection petition is yet another example. We have another police report where McAdams drove across town to put in one of his campaign signs at the house of a resident that he doesn't like. He told the police officer that he had the legal right to do so based on the U.S. Supreme Court. Was McAdams using his office again, giving wrong advice to the police officer? The day after the League of Women's Voter Forum, March 8th, a new Facebook group, Politico, was started related to bullying and trolling Mark Chevette and me. Photos on this site could only have been taken by Scott McAdams at the electoral board hearing on January 5th in the jury room 300. My photo had printed on it, "Why am I here again?" Mark's Chevette's photo had, "But Your Honor, I'm a DJ and we know things." A post had Mark and Derek Michael Pooey. One comment, it was by J.J. Wett, and he posted a smiling pile of poo. J.J. Wett was appointed by this council to be a member of the Human Rights Commission. That was a mistake. Scott Campbell, county board member for the 7th District, has posted in the site, on this group. Wouldn't a better use of his time would have been oversight of the Fayette County Health, County Nursing Home? Also, Alderman Perkins' son, Hayden, has posted to this group. Please pass a code of conduct ordinance for your members. Thank you.
All right. Moving on to agenda item G, approval of the minutes. I would take a motion to approve the minutes.
So moved. Second?
Moved by Alderman.
I don't know if you called me, I can't hear.
I did. Ray?
Ray Jumper?
Oh, Ray, come on up. Yeah, sorry.
Thank you. I apologize, I lost my hearing almost a year ago.
No problem at all,
And I'm just
sir.
starting to get it back, but it's all a little garbly yet, so, but
Well,
I
we
can
can
talk.
hear you just
Okay,
fine.
thank you. Crime in the kelp.
Hey, Ray, just so you know, you have 3 minutes that I have to hold you to.
Okay.
So I'll let you know in 3 minutes, and that'll be
I
the
don't
end
think
of
it'll take
public
that long.
All righty.
The reason we have crime in the kelp, you people in the city council are not helping the police. You vote in high rises. The city of Chicago made the same mistake, and now they try to get rid of them and ship the garbage to the kelp. It's time to stop building high rises in the kelp. Crime is here because of you. There might not be crime in new high rises today, but one day there will be. Mayor, I quote, "The building looks good today, in a couple of years, who knows?" Here is a man that beats a woman in Cortland. They find him in the kelp. He's from Chicago. A man killed on I-88 was from the kelp. The man killed him is from the kelp. A man recently lured a child into his vehicle while his white child was walking home from school. The incident reported occurred between 3:30 and 4:30 near the 100 block of South 8th Street. Thomas Emory School is nearby at 821 South DeKalb. This is the beginning if you don't stop building high rises. This is because of the high rises in DeKalb. Thank you to you. We need city council members who are for residents, not the slumlords. You need to add a number of police to the ranks. We need more police officers. Instead of putting the money into the library, you need to put the money into more police. I support charging landlords for keeping bad elements in their buildings. Rising the fees is an excellent idea. This will keep the landlord honest and above board. I ask you, how many landlords live in the Cal city limits? Maybe they need to live in apartments to see what it's really like. If the landlords help with getting the bed elements out, we'll stop them from doing another house. You need to put something in orange that will get them out of DeKalb. This will not place department's jobs on a landlord. This is true to help police in fighting crime. The downtown is ridiculous. We already have companies moving out because there's no parking. You wasted the taxpayers' money. You need diagonal parking downtown. How many businesses came and gone because there's no parking? One time you voted on burning in DeKalb. A woman gave a list of things that were medically wrong. One comment was, I like smelling of burning leaves. You never took into account what that lady said. If you got asthma, stay in the house. This was your opinion. You enjoy the fresh outdoors because your neighborhoods are burning wood. It is time to get your heads out of your rear ends and start doing something for the homeowners.
Great, I would love to, if you want to meet sometime.
I don't hear you. I'm sorry.
Can you hear me at
I
all?
have to walk up to you.
Here.
I apologize.
No, I get
Like it says,
Hey, what I wanted to
I'm
say
going
is,
through a cobra, so
if you want to meet sometime and I can talk to you about a lot of those particular items, I would love to.
after the meeting,
Not tonight, but,
email you?
yeah.
Okay, I got your
6
email.
months, perfect. I would
Okay.
love to sit down and talk with you.
Thank you very
Or
much.
as a veteran, thanks for your service.
It's gonna take a while.
You betcha. No
Thank
worries.
you.
You bet. All right, moving on to agenda item F, appointments, we have none. And then moving on to agenda item G, approval of the minutes, I take a motion to approve the minutes.
You have a motion and a second already?
Oh, did I? Oh,
Yeah, you did. So
okay,
you just
sorry.
vote. Yeah.
Got distracted.
Yeah,
Any comments or questions? Hearing none, roll call then.
Larson,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Perkins,
Yes.
McAdams.
Yes.
Verbic,
Yes.
Favor,
Yes.
Morris,
Yes.
Mayor Barnes,
Yes.
8 aye.
All right, the minutes have been approved. Then moving on to agenda item H, consent agenda. Number 1, accounts payable and payroll through March 13th, 2023, in the amount of $2,563,457.54. Number 2, investment and bank balance summary through January 2023. Number 3, year-to-date revenues and expenditures through January 2023. Can I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
Second?
Moved by Alderman Smith, seconded by Alderman Perkins. Any comments or questions? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Smith,
Yes.
Perkins,
Yes.
McAdams.
Yes.
Verbic,
Yes.
Favor,
Yes.
Morris,
Yes.
Larson,
Yes.
Mayor Barnes,
Yes.
8 aye.
All right, the consent agenda has been approved. Moving on to agenda item I, public hearings, we have none. And then J, considerations. So the new J1 is Resolution 2023-030, approving a purchase and sale agreement with Michael Wood for real estate located next to 205 Industrial Drive, PIN number 08-24-353-006. Can I have a motion to bring it to the floor?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by, I'll do Alderman Perkins, seconded by Alderwoman Larson. City Manager.
I believe Mr. Buick wants to speak in behalf of the petitioner.
Nothing significant to say, Council. I think the city manager has summed up the situation quite adequately in your background. Mr. Wood is here if the council has any questions for him tonight, but we're grateful for your consideration of this, and again, hopefully it speaks for itself.
Okay. City Manager, any further comment on that?
Just to say, as you know from your background, that
Yeah.
there's a fair amount of background there and some exhibits as you're seeing now. There's a landlocked strip, which is approximately a half acre in area. It's 60 feet wide by 400 feet long. 50-plus years ago, maybe more than that, this land was purchased, never dedicated as a right-of-way, but purchased by the city of DeKalb, and some other land was as well, to the east and to the west. Since that, and the ambition was, we believe at the time, that Simmons Drive would be connected to Industrial Drive. And now we take Industrial Drive for granted, but at that point, Industrial Drive just went to the southernmost entrance to what was then Farm and Fleet. And beyond that, there was a private road that went to a farmhouse. So Peace Road wasn't there, and I-88 wasn't there. So the thought of running it further south wasn't in the thinking of the planning at that time, nor would it reasonably have been. Flash forward, the land to the east that might have been a connecting point to go someplace east of Industrial Drive has now been absorbed by private owners, and to the west of this strip as well. So it has no purpose in terms of future roadway. It can't go anywhere. You'd have to drop cars on it, I guess, from a helicopter. But it has had some value for properties just to the north and just to the south. Elliott Wood owns the land to the south. They have a building there, and they'd like to use that building and some of the space that, as you can see in this particular exhibit, is taken up by this city parcel, and they'd like to be able to bring vehicles in for maintenance and push them facing south and into their building. To the north, there's been some ersatz use of this by another owner or series of owners, and so Elliott Wood is looking to clean this up a little bit. There would have to remain an easement for that underground utility that's shown here in the dotted and stroked green line. But otherwise, they've agreed to everything that the city's asked of them, and we ask that you approve this vacation, and I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Well, you mentioned cleanup, so I have to
I
clean
should
up
say
some-
sale, because it's not a
Yeah,
vacation.
well, I have to do a cleanup really quick.
Yeah.
I've seen too many agendas, too many draft agendas. This was K, so I moved K6 up to J1.
Yes.
So I don't know procedurally.
It's fine.
It's fine? We don't need to
It's
undo that? Okay,
understood
all right,
what
perfect,
we're
all
doing, yeah.
right. Just wanted to make sure. Council, any questions or comments on this? A lot of lawn mowing happened over the years.
Yeah.
Free of charge. Yeah, all right. All right, hearing no other questions or comments, roll call, please.
Perkins,
Yes.
McAdams.
Yes.
Verbic,
Yes.
Favor,
Yes.
Morris,
Yes.
Larson,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Mayor Barnes,
Yes.
8 aye.
All right, Resolution 2023-030, approving a purchase and sale agreement with Michael Wood for real estate located at and next to 205 Industrial Drive. I'm reading it to be specific. PIN number 08-24-353-006 has been approved. Thank you very much. All right, now we'll move on to considerations. Number one, consideration of staff proposal regarding video gaming in the city of DeKalb. Can I have a motion to bring it to the floor?
So moved.
Second?
Moved by Alderman Favor, seconded by Alderman McAdams. City Manager, what you got?
Thank you, Mayor. Well, there's some considerable background for this. You'll recall that on February 13th, there was another consideration to seek council's direction on what, if any, limits ought to be imposed on video gaming terminals in the city of DeKalb. And as we found in the course of the conversation and from the staff exhibits, there are a number of types of occupancies where video gaming terminals exist. And they are in bars, they are in some private clubs, they are in video gaming establishments, which there was a limit put on by the council some years ago. The questions that the council asked, I've repeated. What's the optimal number of video gaming establishments? What's the optimal number of video gaming terminals and those occupancies that you feel are reasonable places for these to be found by the interested public? And more specifically, should they be permitted in gas stations as they are in some communities, food and fuel establishments, a little different from gas stations in it, maybe a larger area to buy goods and dry goods and drinks and so forth, or in liquor stores, and some communities allow them there. Some communities allow them in truck stops and the like. And then ultimately, should the council legislate limits on the number of VGTs in those existing lawful establishments? And At the end of that meeting, the council directed me to have conversation one-on-one with a number of council members. I met with the mayor and Alderman Perkins shortly after that meeting. I've talked to some of the rest of you, and I've had some back and forth with some of you on email. And what I came up with by way of what I understand the consensus to be is identified on pages 3 and 4 in the background, and for the council, or for the public that may be following the manager's summary, that's where they would find those consensual thoughts. Here's what they are. The council as a body, I don't think there were any exceptions to this, wanted to continue to aim for the limit of 10 video gaming establishments. And in those video gaming establishments, currently, you can have up to 6 in each of these establishments, 6 VT, video gaming terminals. I don't want to get into the acronyms there. And so I was hearing no change there. There is action pending tonight on one particular license that could establish another video gaming establishment as a supplemental use. It's been carried forward, and we'll have some conversation about that. I'm assuming that you want to go forward with that. Action yet to be taken. Allowing video gaming terminals and businesses holding a bar license. There seemed to be general consensus around that. And that would also include new bar licenses applied for if that's what they think is important as part of their establishment. No video gaming terminals in gas stations, food and fuel establishments, or liquor stores. Also, no video gaming licenses, terminals, in future restaurants. The thinking there, and I heard this from a number of aldermen, is it didn't seem compatible to be there with the family, having an evening meal, and there's somebody not too far away playing actively on a machine and verbalizing their pleasure or their displeasure with the action of the machine. And then also, finally, the number of video gaming terminals in any licensed establishment would have a limit of 6. So currently, you've seen some of the charts and graphs that I have to thank Ruth Scott for creating for us a month ago. In a very thorough fashion, it illustrated how many VGTs are in each establishment. On the average, it was somewhere between 4 or 5 or 6. So 6 would, at this point, be what I understood the maximum to be. So that's it, 5 basic assumptions. It doesn't change much from where we started. It does identify more clearly, if you decide to proceed with this in an ordinance, which I presume you'd want to see at the next meeting, so we could put a cap on this, that the council's wish with respect to these future uses would be identified in the code. It's understood. If you read the code and you don't see it, then you ask the staff, and we say, well, it's not currently allowed. But people who might be looking at this and thinking about starting a certain kind of business would probably appreciate knowing, is this explicitly prohibited or not? So this would, I assume how we would write this would explicitly prohibit that.
Mr. Dwayne Johnson, you had a public comment on this? And just as a reminder, 3 minutes, sir.
2 minutes.
2 minutes, all right. 3, I said. Oh, I said 2. If you want to get it done 2, that's fine, but you have 3. No worries, sir.
In 2022, Illinois collected $1.9 billion in gaming revenue. The lottery generated $833 million, video gaming $762 million, sports wagering $142 million, casinos $140 million, and horse racing $7 million. There are 43,128 video gaming machines in Illinois in 7,967 establishments. The state distributed $146,955,976 from the $762 million in video gaming to municipalities in 2022. Several higher populated cities have flipped and now allow video gaming. Buffalo Grove, Crystal Lake, Mount Prospect, Niles, Orland Park, and St. Charles, among others. After banning video gaming for 6 months, St. Charles voted to reinstate it. They needed the revenue it generated. Studies by the Behavioral Analysis and Therapy Program at Southern Illinois University have shown that gaming can positively improve your mood and cause happiness. When you gamble, your brain releases dopamine, the feel-good neurotransmitter that makes you feel excited. Video gaming machines have positive effects on municipalities. They increase employment opportunities, increase property values, cause local businesses to flourish, and increase spending by residents. There are many reasons why people gamble, not just to win money, but the adrenaline rush it causes, the chance to socialize, the opportunity to escape from worries and stress and enjoy a evening out. What do you say when you win at gambling? We all know the winner says, "Winner, winner, chicken dinner." Of course, that term was thought to have originated from the casinos in Las Vegas, where you could buy a full chicken dinner for $2. The golden rule of gambling is never gamble with money you can't afford to lose. The municipal code should be changed to allow more than 10 establishments to have video gaming. The free market should determine the number. We should allow video gaming in gas stations, in taverns, and in restaurants. Just look at what we could get with a truck stop on the tollway if there were video gaming allowed in that. The free market will determine this. Don't put any caps on this. Let the market determine this. We have a cash cow here. Don't
That's
try
3
to
minutes,
choke
Mr.
the
Johnson.
cow. Milk it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right, council. So as Bill mentioned, this was a consolidation of ideas from the council meeting where we discussed this quite in depth. As Bill mentioned, also had some one-on-ones with you all, and then Alderman Perkins and I sat down to just try and rehash what we thought we heard and try and consolidate it. A reminder too is, we will change the ordinance, which is changing the law of the city of DeKalb to do this, but nothing, it can always be modified in the future. There can be one-offs. What we're really trying to just accomplish is this the spirit of the conversation that we had and where we want to take the direction of DeKalb? Limiting video gambling it's no different than other things that come up from liquor stores or cigarette stores. You name it, we have the responsibility to choose and set the tone of our community. And I'm a big believer in free enterprise and small business, judging that and shaping that. But ultimately, we're here, and it's our responsibility to figure out what we want our community to look like. So I think and I know you all read the background material, I think it was a pretty adequate summary, but what we're bringing it for right now is, did we get it right? Or is there further conversation we want to have? So at this point, I'll just open it up to council for questions, comments on what is before you. Yes, Alderwoman Larson.
I appreciate all the effort that's gone into this, and I think you did get a lot of the information. The one thing that's before us, not right this second, is that maybe we could add something that, whether it's for this 10th one that's hanging out there, or maybe down the road, we go to 15 and we have another, that if somebody has acquired a license to have a gaming establishment, that there is a time limit of that license. That if you don't, because
Use it or lose it?
Use it or lose
Yeah.
it, and let somebody else use it, because this license has been sitting there for 3 years, and if you take their figures of $22,000 a year, the residents of DeKalb have lost $66,000. So I think that you know, I get, we had COVID and everything, I won't go into that, but I think if there was some kind of limitation that when a license is voted on or whatever and given to somebody, then they have to have the establishment up and running within a certain time zone or a time frame. But everything else, I think you did catch.
Response, thoughts on that?
The licenses have to be renewed every year. And one of the reasons that we've gone on for a while is because by council action, the council has extended. So the council's maybe the best arbiter of how far you will go. And so to address that, I think I would trust in that. I don't think we have to add anything more. I like that.
Yeah, because if someone came, like what we've had 2 or 3 years, we can start setting the tone of, no. You need to by this time, otherwise, we're not going to renew it. And give everyone the warning you got a year, and if there's no revenue generating, nothing's happening, then we can choose not to renew that particular license. And I think we're doing a better job at communicating the tone at council now with those that own these licenses.
Sounds good.
Other questions, comments? Alderman Verbeek.
Well, as I mentioned before, I think we should stay out of it from a standpoint of, Dwayne touched on it a little bit, that $391,000, where does that otherwise come from? If it's not coming from people that are deciding that their disposable income, they're having fun with this is a source of revenue for us. If we don't have this source of revenue, how do we obtain it? Well, we raise taxes. And I don't think that people are as interested in that as they are, to your point, though, what do we want for our community? What is that perception that gambling parlors could leave for not only residents but for visitors? So I understand what everyone is saying, but certainly my view is to let the private market determine what is that saturation point for machines in DeKalb. This right here, this is a gaming machine. So I can walk into your favorite restaurant, wherever it may be, scan the QR code, and now I'm betting, I'm watching the game, I'm betting with whoever the casino is that sponsors and I won't name names, I think all of you have seen them at particular establishments. So, this is really where it's at for gambling. Again, entertainment, I've heard that, but I do appreciate how everyone feels about the perceptions and what do we really want for the community. And, for me, I believe we should stay out of it, but again, I will, support council's wishes and council's consensus.
Other comments or questions? Oh, city manager, yes.
All in favor?
I think you did a good job capturing everything. I wasn't going to go down this road, but you brought it up, so I'll go down this road. So you threw out some numbers, Dwayne. I'll have to just go by memory, but I think you said $752 million were collected. Is that last year, or was that?
2022.
Okay, so that's only 25% of the tax that the state collects. That means 3 times that amount of money left the state of Illinois. And that $393,000, that's 5% of the money that was collected that's left the city of DeKalb. That's my problem. It's not staying here. It's not being used in our community. It's not being used to help those people with gambling addictions. Those are left to the city of DeKalb and our social services that we have to support, and that is such a small amount. If you look at the report you get every week from the city manager, over 85% of all of our calls are EMS. They're not fires. Some of those are, health services calls that need to be made. So I look at this as it's leaving our community. When the first establishments, when they came to the city of DeKalb, do you know where they were put?
They were put right next to shopping centers. They were there not for men to go in and gamble. They were there to collect money from the women going to shop for their children and for their families. That's what I find distasteful about the whole gambling parlor, gambling establishments. I am not in support of it. It doesn't represent the community that I want. I want a community that's flourishing because of the investments made in the community. These aren't investments in the community. These are set up to take money away from our community. So I have a very hard time to continue to support these. And the comment was made last meeting, the horse is out of the barn. Well, let's try and catch those horses. Let's try and put them back in the barn.
Agreed. I've been reading a couple studies. The IML just put out one on video gambling as well. And some of the money, or considerable amount of the money that people are using to feed the machines was the same amount of money, especially when you look at the demographic of those, many of those that are utilizing it, were the same demographic that would go to, let's say, El Jimador and go out to dinner and spend that money. They would go to our local flower shops. They would go to the Egyptian Theater. They would go and spend that money in our community, which, to Alderman Favor's point, help retain that money and keep it within the community. Right now, we do have a significant amount leaving it. Can we actually do a study on how much of that money was captured via taxes and went right into our general revenue bucket, compared to if they wouldn't have spent it on video gambling, would have spent it at grocery stores and restaurants and other small businesses in our community? We'll never be able to find that out. But there is enough information out there, and residents that reached out to me as well commented on just that. The percentage of dollars that leave our community for every dollar that goes into those is significant, and I would love to be able to capture those. City Manager, were you going to say something? Are you good?
No.
Okay. Other comments or questions, Council? Yes, Alderwoman
And
Larson.
just to piggyback on what you were saying, and that's why I have a major concern with just the VGEs. But at the VGTs, like you said, at the American Legion and the Elks, when people are there, they might be having dinner, the camaraderie. I have no problem with those, but the standalone establishments, I just don't feel there's as many positives about neighborhoods and meeting friends, and it just seems different in my mind. So it's not about the number of machines, it's just, to me, the number of those standalone that I would like to see limited.
Any others? All right, hearing none, roll call, please.
Verbic,
Or wait, this is a consideration.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I know, yeah.
For guidance, right?
I'm still in the Ks here. Oh, did you, what, sorry?
No, we're
Yeah, it's just guidance.
For guidance.
Yeah,
and
so
direction.
they'll bring back an ordinance for us in the future to be able to approve. All right, so moving on to now K resolutions, number
Wait, hold
one.
on.
What?
Did you want something else from us? I feel like we're not,
No, I laid out 5 principal questions, and if they, what I'll do is I'll bring back an ordinance that addresses those 5, and those who are for and against
Yeah.
can say so at the time.
I'm sorry, I thought what I heard, I mean, there's multiple lacks of comments, so I'm considering that approval of what the city manager brought forward. I think there's a couple in alignment, at least with what's coming forward, that's enough of a head nodding from our perspective to say, go ahead and bring it forward to council?
Yes.
Unless
Fine.
you'd
No,
like
that's
more
fine.
clarification, Bill.
No, it's fine. I
You sure?
understand, yeah.
Okay. What about you, Alderman Larson? You called me on something earlier, and you were right, so I'm.
well, you went down to this, and you were looking at your notes, and I'm looking at Bill's face, and he was kind of doing this.
Gotcha.
Okay, so I thought, I
So
just
you-
wanted to be clear that we're giving him what he
Thank you.
needed from us.
So you're good to go,
Sorry.
city manager?
I am.
All
Thank
right,
you.
awesome. All right. Can I move to K1? All right.
I'm done.
Hey, she's been on the money so far, so. All right, moving on to agenda item K, resolutions. Number 1, resolution 2023-022, amending resolution 2022-023 to extend the deadline for the issuance of packaged liquor license with supplemental drive-through licensure for Blue Ridge LLC, 1221, located at 1221 West Lincoln Highway. Can I have a motion to bring it to the floor?
So moved.
second.
Moved by Alderman Smith, seconded by Alderman Verbeck. City Manager.
Thank you, Mayor. At the last regular meeting on the 27th, the council tabled the resolution that comes to you again tonight. And there was some discussion about what criteria might be specified for a final extension. And based on your direction, what this particular resolution states is as follows, that the petitioners shall submit a final development plan and plat, which have yet to be reviewed by the Planning and Zoning Commission and approved by the council, no later than June 1st, 2023. So this is not like just a survey. This is an extensive rendering of not only the footprint of where the building is, but there has to be some consideration of drainage and retention and paved surfaces and setbacks and the rest. And likewise, that a building permit shall be issued no later than June 1st, 2023. And finally, that a temporary occupancy permit would be issued no later than 6 months after the date of the issuance of the building permit, at which time a substantial completion would have been achieved, because that's the precondition for a temporary occupancy. And beyond that, it was my understanding that there would be no further extensions.
And we heard from the general contractor last time that that timeline worked. So, council, questions or comments? Hearing none, this is Bill putting pen to paper of our discussion last time. So I just want to make sure, City Manager, you're good for us to proceed. I'm being a smart aleck now. All right, hearing no other questions or comments, I'll do roll call, please.
McAdams,
Yes.
Verbeck,
Yes.
Favor,
Yes.
Morris,
Yes.
Larson,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Perkins,
Yes.
Mayor Barnes,
Yes.
8 ayes.
All right, Resolution 2023-022 passes. Number 2, Resolution 2023-023, amending Resolution 2022-023 to extend the deadline for the issuance of a bar liquor license with supplemental licensure for video gaming for Blue Ridge LLC 1221, located at 1221 West Lincoln Highway. Can I have a motion to bring it to the floor?
So moved. Second.
Moved by Alderman Verbeck, seconded by Alderman Favor. City Manager.
Thank you, Mayor. This is a companion piece to the first resolution, and given the approval of the first resolution, then I think the council should definitely approve this one, which provides the additional gaming licensure and the supplemental bar liquor license, which was part of the whole package. Recommend your approval.
Council, comments, questions? No? All right, roll call, please.
Verbeck,
Yes.
Favor,
Yes.
Morris,
Yes.
Larson,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Perkins,
Yes.
McAdams,
Yes.
Mayor Barnes,
Yes.
8 ayes.
Resolution 2023-023 passes. If we've already covered your council agenda item, you can leave. We don't take any disrespect to that whatsoever. We know everyone's really busy, so. You bet. All right, number 3, Resolution 2023-027, approving an intergovernmental agreement with the DeKalb Public Library for the use of the library for a mural project. Can I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Alderman Favor, seconded by Alderwoman Larson. City Manager.
Thank you, Mayor. The library has graciously offered indoor space, workspace at no charge, so that the panelized and constructed pieces that will become part of the mural for the south side of City Hall this summer and into the early fall can be constructed, and it will also provide in this way a workspace that will be agreeable to people of all ages, children, adults, who are encouraged to participate to the extent they can in this whole mural and panel construction. There will be adult supervision every day, and the artists will be in and out of here and back at the mural, working as things are produced, installed on the wall, and it will be a movable feast through the summer. It should be fun, and we appreciate the library's support.
Council, questions, comments? It is a perfect space here. It's exactly what the artist was looking for. I walked through it with her. Yeah, and it'll accommodate multiple people being able to co-create the mural. This is just going to be an exciting project, and the finished product is just going to be absolutely amazing too. So great to have two governing bodies working together. All right, council, no other questions or comments? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Favor?
Yes.
Morris?
Yes.
Larson?
Yes.
Smith?
Yes.
Perkins?
Yes.
McAdams?
Yes.
Verbic?
Yes.
Mayor Barnes?
Yes.
8 aye.
Resolution 2023-027 passes. Number 4, Resolution 2023-028, authorizing the purchase of a 2023 Step Manufacturing hot patch trailer from Brown Equipment for the Public Works Department in an amount not to exceed $31,638. Can I have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Moved by Alderman McAdams, seconded by Alderman Favor. City Manager.
Thank you, Mayor. I tried in a very supportive and I hope somewhat humorous way to show how much of a magician Andy Wright is. Of course, he's supported in this by our finance director and city manager, but with that support, he has looked hard at some savings that were achieved by some smart purchases in vehicles and equipment and under his departmental budget and or allocations in support of his department. And the possibility of replacing a 17-year-old hot box, which was about dead, and a very essential piece of equipment considering what you're seeing on the roads today and even as things settle out throughout the year, was important. And Andy found the means and came up with a savings of a little over $34,000. We only needed $31,638. Got a deal, and we recommend it to you.
Council. Yes, Alderman Favor.
Yeah, I just want to thank Andy and yourself and the city staff. I mean, just the lengths that you guys go to be good stewards of the taxpayers of DeKalb. Just certainly appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Definitely. Others? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Morris?
Yes.
Larson?
Yes.
Smith?
Yes.
Perkins?
Yes.
McAdams?
Yes.
Verbic?
Yes.
Favor?
Yes.
Mayor Barnes?
Yes.
8 aye.
Resolution 2023-028 passes. Number 5, Resolution 2023-029, authorizing the purchase and equipping of 75 Motorola APX 7000 portable radios from the City of Elgin for the DeKalb Fire Department in the amount of $112,500 using Ground Emergency Medical Transport GEMT funding Fund 130. Can I have a motion to bring it to the floor?
Second.
Moved by Alderman Perkins, seconded by Alderman Smith. City Manager.
There's a similar kind of prudence here. We recently brought to you a purchase out of our GEMT fund that was, the station alert system, which you may recall we talked about one of the last meetings, that was well under what we estimated the cost to be. Now, doesn't mean we should run out and spend it, but in this case, our fire radios had been for a long time losing their viability on the fire ground and just generally. And we knew they had to be replaced this year. Chief Thomas, who couldn't be here tonight and wanted to be here to explain this to you, but is having, oh, he's home. That's all I can say. He's home. But, and watching, I'm sure, and slapping at me virtually in the back of the head now. So, but he's likewise very frugal, and in conversations with his peers in Northern Illinois, found that the city of Elgin had a lot, because of their size relative to ours, a lot of radios that, Motorola radios, so they're the cream in this particular type of use for fire services. And he contacted his counterpart and found out that they had been entertaining costs of about $4,000 for used radios. and they were only going to ask 1,500. They had just completed the turnout of their radios. The ones that we would be getting that are on this agenda tonight, they're the APX 7000. Here's what they can do that our others cannot. First of all, they are usable with a gloved hand, and we don't want our firemen in a hot room taking off their gloves so they can use their radio. The radios come as a package. It's not just the radio, but you get the lapel mic, you get a battery charger. These are water resistant. They are more reliable and durable than the radios we have. They also can be repaired by a repair person who can work out of a truck, and these mobile types of repairs. Otherwise, many times these radios have to be boxed up and sent someplace, and then they're out of action for a while. But here's the main thing. So the people whose lives are at stake are always a concern to our fire chief. But they're also the ones who ran this through testing for a number of weeks in action and on drills and in normal conditions and fire conditions, simulated fire conditions, and they love them. So what's before you tonight is a purchase all in of $112,500. That's money that we do have in the GEMT fund as a result of savings from the good pricing we got for the station alert system. We recommend your approval.
Council? No questions, no comments? All right, excellent summary. Roll call, please.
Larson,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Perkins,
Yes.
McAdams,
Yes.
Verbic,
Yes.
Favor,
Yes.
Morris,
Yes.
Mayor Barnes,
Yes.
8 aye.
Resolution 2023-029 passes. Moving on to agenda item L, ordinances, second reading, we have none. And then agenda item M, ordinances, first reading. Ordinance 2023-014, publishing the official zoning map of the city of DeKalb. Can I have a motion to bring it to the floor?
So moved?
Second.
Moved by Alderman Favor, seconded by Alderwoman Larson. City Manager.
Illinois Municipal Code requires that we annually publish an official zoning map that reflects any changes that you, the council, may have approved in the previous year. That's what's before you tonight. There's a detail, I want to thank Dan Olson for presenting the chart to me, so it was very easy to plug this in for your use tonight. Not a lot of changes, and they'll be very familiar to you. These are things that occurred just in the last year. Recommend your approval.
Council, questions, comments? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Smith,
Yes.
Perkins,
Yes.
McAdams,
Yes.
Verbic,
Yes.
Favor,
Yes.
Morris,
Yes.
Larson,
Yes.
Mayor Barnes,
Yes.
8 aye.
Ordinance 2023-014 passes on first reading. Is it appropriate, City Manager, to
Yes.
waive second reading? I would take a motion to waive second reading.
So moved.
Moved by Alderman Perkins, seconded by Alderwoman Morris, I think it was? Yes? No? Oh, Alderwoman Larson? Questions or comments on that? Roll call, please.
Perkins,
Yes.
McAdams,
Yes.
Verbic,
Yes.
Favor,
Yes.
Morris,
Yes.
Larson,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Mayor Barnes,
Yes.
8 aye.
Second reading has been waived for ordinance 2023-014. All right, number two, ordinance 2023-015, amending Chapter 51 Traffic Schedule F Municipal Lot Parking as it pertains to Frost Municipal Lot Parking Hours. Can I have a motion to bring it to the floor?
So moved?
Second.
Moved by Alderman Favor, seconded by Alderman McAdams. City Manager.
Thank you, Mayor. In the course of the due diligence for our rail consultants, we are working in a collaborative way to hit a number of things, cull a number of data points, and one of those obviously is what are the potential number of riders in our area. One way that we're trying to elicit interest is to simulate a park and ride opportunity. Some people are now taking the expanded bus trips to and from Elburn, where the commuter run stops, and just parking willy-nilly, getting on the buses that are so designated, Route 12, and getting to and from. But we thought we would create our own little identified area. And it's the Frost lot. We thought to start with that and see how it goes. That's the lot between 6th and 7th, right next to the old train depot on Locust Street. Nobody uses that. It is currently a bus stop, and the bus goes by there, so we thought, well, let's use that. There's 20-some odd spaces there now, a little bit more than that. I guess it's closer to 30. And the issue, why is this before you? I could have done that under the authority of the city manager, but the issue is that we have an ordinance which defines when street sweeping shall occur in this lot. And it's currently from 2 a.m. to 6 a.m. on Tuesdays and Thursdays. The buses will be gone before 6 a.m. That's 5:32, I believe, for the pickup. And believe it or not, there are people jumping on and buying in increasing numbers. So we want to encourage that so we can count them toward our study. So we've talked to Andy Rye about this, and the person who does the street sweeping is out long before that. And if we could just move up, I guess, I never know that, up, back, from 2 to 5:30, then the bus stopping there will not be in violation of your law. That's okay with you? We'd love it.
So towing people because they're parked there illegally would dissuade them from probably taking the bus to the...
The alternative is for me to be there every morning with a snappy uniform saying you can't park here.
Boy, I'd like to see that.
Which is very encouraging.
That's tempting. All right, questions or comments, council? Hearing none, roll call, please.
McAdams,
Yes.
Verbic,
Yes.
Favor,
Yes.
Morris,
Yes.
Larson,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Perkins,
Yes.
Mayor Barnes.
Yes.
8 ayes.
Ordinance 2023-015 passes on first reading. Take a motion to waive second.
So moved. Second?
Moved by Alderwoman Morris, seconded by Alderman McAdams. Any comments or questions on that? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Verbic,
Yes.
Favor,
Yes.
Morris,
Yes.
Larson,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Perkins,
Yes.
McAdams.
Yes.
Mayor Barnes.
Yes.
8 ayes.
Second reading has been waived for ordinance 2023-015. All right, moving on to agenda item N, reports and communications. Alderwoman Morris, you want to kick us off since I left you out last time? I'm sorry.
No report.
All right. Alderman Smith?
No report.
All right. Alderman McAdams?
No report?
Alderman Favor?
No report.
Alderman Verbic?
Tree trimming at Prairie Park last week was fascinating. Some of the tallest trees in the city, and these crews were up there just way up. I don't know how many feet it is, but it was just neat to stand and watch in awe at the work they were doing. So that's all for me.
Alderman Perkins?
I'd like to thank Zach Gill and Brian Faber. We just spent some time with them last week talking about our water system and streets. And it was great discussion. They're great guys to work with.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Alderwoman Larson?
No report.
Myself, I was just looking at my calendar, had a meeting with the area pastors. They have a term for their group. I can't remember what it is right now. But just a group of local pastors, many that have congregations in Annie-Glidden North, and they just wanted an update on what's happening in Annie-Glidden North, especially when it comes to landlords and tenants. So City Manager Nicholas and I met with them and spent some time going through it. Great discussion, very candid, which I thought was great. And I look forward to just seeing what their influence when they weigh in a little bit more with our landlords is going to be, which is absolutely awesome. Also met with Samantha McDavid. She is the president of the DeKalb School Board, and we had just a continuing conversation about cooperation between our two entities and updating each other on what's going on, since we're two of the larger taxing bodies, if not largest taxing bodies in the city of DeKalb. And I always enjoy my conversation with her and her leadership. Also met with the IESA. They had their state wrestling tournament here, which is always fun. I get to go out on the mat. I get to do the let's get ready to rumble thing. Just kidding. But I get to welcome everyone to Northern Illinois University at the Convocation Center, and also welcome them to the city of DeKalb. And it's just an electrifying event because, boy, these kids, they're serious. They're coming to perform. And seeing how some of them get crushed that first match and tapped out, it was just heart-wrenching. But, you know, experiencing failure like that is, I think, incredibly important to our youth's ability to grow and learn how to take something like that and then figure out how they can avoid it in the future by doubling down and working harder. So it was just really cool to see that transpiring. Also, the Illinois Arts Council was out here at the Egyptian Theater doing a presentation. They're under new leadership with Mrs. Daly, and they were just talking about there's a lot of funds available for municipalities, and I think we had great representation. Scott Zach was there. We had members of our Citizens Community Enhancement Commission there, as well as deans from Northern Illinois University, people from obviously the Egyptian Theater, but many, and Stagecoach Theater, and just many of the organizations and educational institutions that represent art in our community. And it was a great dialogue, and we really appreciated them coming out and educating us a little bit about what was going on. Also had our summit with all the taxing bodies. So we had every, Forest Preserve wasn't there, I think, but we had every taxing body that is associated with the city of DeKalb out to the police department and had an open and candid conversation about what I believe is the fiduciary responsibility of all of us in office today to recognize the fact that we're in an unprecedented situation in the city of DeKalb economically, with all the new economic development coming to our community, and that means levies are going to continue to increase, which means it is finally time for us collectively to work together to drive our tax rate, the aggregate tax rate of the city of DeKalb, down. And the charge that was put out there is, could we drive it down to 9%? And 9% gets us competitive with just about every community in the surrounding area, going into Elgin, Geneva, Batavia, all those as well, including the city of Sycamore. And at the end, I asked, is everyone overall in support of this? I'm not holding you to it, but are we in support of let's break, go back to our individual governing bodies, work together, and come back and figure out what our plan is going to be? I was hoping it'll be 9% in 2 years. That was the ask. And it was great to see the support that was out there from the taxing bodies. Bill, I don't know if you want to comment on anything?
I will when you're done with your comments.
Okay, perfect. But yeah, so it was a good conversation, and it was really cool just to see all the taxing bodies willing to come together and collectively work together. And we had a whole discussion around this is just the first topic that we look forward to. Even when we move past this topic, how can we work together to figure out how collectively we can benefit the individual taxpayers, both individuals and corporations in the city of DeKalb, by having that ability to work together, essentially. So it was a great summit. Bill.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm glad you brought that up. I was going to say that I'm very grateful that you convened that, all the local taxing bodies. That tax summit was a first. And a couple of things I would add briefly. The county will publish in about 30 days the final rates for all the local taxing bodies. So we're just standing down briefly while those numbers come forward, and then we'll know where exactly we are for the 2022 rates, which are known obviously in 23. And then we'll see where we are, how far we are from the 9%, which is a goal that we had discussed. And from there, the work gets down into the weeds with probably a small working group. The general consensus was that it was a better idea than trying to do this with a group of, say, a couple dozen people. So we'll pull together some of the top administrators probably, and there are a couple finance people from the various local taxing bodies, and we'll come up with some scenarios and then bring it to a reconvened summit as soon as possible. And we'll keep you informed of how that's going. Two other quick things. This Friday is St. Patrick's Day. A couple things will happen in DeKalb. Probably more than a couple things will happen in DeKalb.
We're dyeing the Kish green?
What?
We're dyeing the Kish green?
No.
No? All right.
But it is green already in some parts.
Now, come on.
But that's.
It is not.
It's also the deadline for the submittal of proposals for our Annie-Glidden North land. And we're expecting a couple of proposals, and maybe more. We'll keep you informed.
Exciting.
The other thing that happens on that day, the 5-year refuse contract expires this year. And just reading back from that August 31st date, to allow for council consideration, and then if there was a change, and I'm not saying there will be or should be, but as you know from the last time, there was about a 90-day commission period. So we need to get out with an RFP. That RFP is ready to be mailed on Friday, and there will be a 6-week response period. We're looking for some additional services, one of which we hear a lot about, and that's household hazardous waste. As it is now, and as we had scripted this 5 years ago, the idea was that a couple times a year people can go to the airport, go someplace and dump off things, and the trouble is people get impatient with the removal of that from their garages or from other parts of their houses, and so they end up in black plastic bags into the garbage, and they're in a part of the landfill where they're not supposed to be. So we're asking any interested bidders to come up with something better and more regular. And there are some other things too that we have heard and you've told us about. So we think it's a very detailed spec. It goes on for about almost 30 pages, and we think there will also be hopefully there'll be some alternate suggestions about service that these various companies will come up. We think it'll be very competitive, and we will keep you informed.
Awesome. Yeah, if there was ever, going back to the taxing body thing, a story for our local media to cover extensively compared to all the stories that have been generated from these chambers, I would think the property taxes and all the taxing bodies coming together and working on that collectively in order to drive down the tax rate to an aggregate tax rate of 9% in 2 years, that would be a hot story that I'd want to cover, because I think just about every resident and commercial property owner in the city of DeKalb is going to be highly interested in that.
What do you think, Megan?
All right, so I'm joking, but I'm not. I think that's going to captivate a lot of people. All right, moving on to agenda item O, executive session. At this point, I would ask council for a motion for approval to hold an executive session in order to discuss executive session minutes as provided for in 5 ILCS 120/2C21.
So moved.
Second?
Moved by Alderman Morris, seconded by Alderman Favor. Roll call, please.
Favor,
Yes.
Morris,
Yes.
Larson,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Perkins,
Yes.
McAdams,
Yes.
Verbic,
Yes.
Mayor Barnes,
Yes.
8 aye.
All right, our regular meeting is now in recess.